Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Friday, October 23rd, 2020, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the possibility of a Democratic trifecta in the United States presidency, House of Representatives, and the Senate. So what does that look like? Well, on the current 2020 national forecast, the Democratic Party is the favorite to win the presidential election. After last night's debate, not much has changed on the presidential level, but on the Senate level, the Democrats have held a pretty consistent victory odd over the Republican Party. They currently have a 74% chance at winning control, and in the House of Representatives, the Democratic Party now has a 96% chance at retaining control. In fact, in most cases, the Democratic Party gains seats in the House of Representatives. Of course, they would have to gain seats in the Senate to win it back and win over more electoral votes than last time in this election. So, this forecast is very reminiscent of the 2012 538 forecast. If you don't remember, Nate Silver released a 2012 forecast where he got every single state correctly. In 2016, Hillary Clinton's chances were roughly the same 2 weeks prior to the election, but this is right around the time when the narrowing began for Hillary Clinton, and we're not seeing that happen for Joe Biden. So as it stands today, the Democratic Party has roughly a 72% chance at winning a Democratic trifecta according to 538, and this would be pretty significant. The last time we saw a Democratic trifecta was in 2008 when Barack Obama won 365 electoral votes and the Democrats expanded their Senate majority to 59 seats. They had a nearly 60-seat majority at the time, a filibuster-proof majority, which was exactly what they needed in order to get Obamacare passed. But that was 2008 to 2010, and then the Republican Party won back the House of Representatives. The Democratic Party will likely only have 2 years of a Democratic trifecta, given that they do win the presidency and the Senate elections. But the fact that they are now at a point where it is more likely than not that a trifecta will happen, I think that is super significant. I've discussed the idea of a trifecta in the past. I've showed you guys scenarios where it's possible, but we are 11 days out until the election, and I was telling you guys a month ago when we discussed a trifecta that it wasn't super likely at the time. There was so much that could have happened on behalf of Trump's campaign that could have turned around this election, also with the Republican Party on the Senate level, but nothing significant happened. The shift only helped the Democratic Party. Following the first debate and Trump's COVID diagnosis, Joe Biden is still riding that high with roughly 40 million Americans already voted. Well, that's roughly 1/3 of the electorate from 2016. So the fact that Joe Biden now has an 87% chance at victory just 11 days away when 1/3 of voters have already voted, that is very significant. On the Senate level, I expect Democrats to win the majority at this point. They have become the clear favorites in some of these traditional Republican states or states with Republican incumbents, for example, Arizona and Colorado. They also are the favorites to retain most of their Senate seats. The Democrats are expected to win all but one, the one being the state of Alabama, where Doug Jones is expected to lose to Tommy Tuberville. Other than that, the Democrats are now the favorites in the state of Iowa, in the state of Georgia Senate special election, in North Carolina, in Maine. So all of these states all help the Democratic Party reach that majority. Because even if the Democrats win all of their seats plus the 2 Republican seats and then lose Alabama, it puts them at 48 seats. So that's only 2 away from what they need, given that Joe Biden wins the presidency. So how likely is a Joe Biden presidency? Well, like I showed you, 538 gives Joe Biden an 87% chance at winning the election. However, if Joe Biden just retains the Clinton states from 2016 on the key states map that includes Colorado, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Nevada, well, guess what? The map finalizes with Joe Biden at a 97% chance at victory. This is if he wins the Clinton states from 2016. This is if he wins the same states when the rest of the country went to the right that voted for Secretary Clinton. Donald Trump has a 3% chance of victory at that point. It drops 10%. Because Minnesota, if it is to go to Biden, well, that's an indicator that Trump hasn't improved in the Rust Belt. Well, what about Nevada and Colorado? Well, if Biden's winning there, he probably isn't doing too well in neighboring Arizona. These 2 wins give Biden a 76% chance at winning Arizona. And New Hampshire, which was the closest state in the election by vote count, 2,000 votes separated Clinton and Trump 4 years ago. Well, if Trump isn't winning there, that means no significant improvements in the Northeast as well. So all in all, I mean, if Biden is just able to win the Clinton states, it puts him at a very strong position to win the Electoral College. And also, it puts the Democrats in a much better position at winning the Senate. Because not only do the Democrats traditionally need 51 seats, but this election, they only need 50. And the reason for that is because of the fact that if Joe Biden does win the presidency, that means they will only need 50 because the vice president will break the tie. Now, that's not a scenario that the Democrats would want. All it would take is one Democratic defective voter that goes to the Republican Party side that could block any potential long-lasting legislation in the Senate, notably Joe Manchin or John Tester from traditionally conservative states that would want to hopefully be reelected or just responding to their constituents' concerns. But the Democratic Party is on track to win more than 50. So at this point, the Democrats will likely win the Senate. They're all certainly going to win the House of Representatives. It's a 96% chance. The Republicans being at 4%, I mean, this is abysmal. This is a House election with the same congressional districts from 2016, with the exception of Pennsylvania and North Carolina. And the Republican Party should be at a much better position, even if we were talking about a scenario where Donald Trump was running not even ahead of Joe Biden, but just closer than before. The Republican Party would still be at this negative position. This is the fault of the Republican Party. While Donald Trump is bringing down Republicans on the Senate level and in some cases certain House districts, the Republican Party also failed to field any real strong candidates for the 2020 House elections. They don't really, they're rerunning people from 2018 who lost already. And I understand that, yes, it was a Democratic wave year, but this year is shaping up to be possibly even stronger for the Democrats than 2018. I mean, we are 11 days away, and the Democrats maintain a double-digit lead nationwide. You can't really spin that into being a post-convention bump. You can't spin this into being something that will dissipate, because we have 40 million votes already cast, and it's not as if you can just ask for your ballot back. It's not a scenario that's likely to happen. It's not going to happen. And for those 40 million Americans who have already voted, their votes will be processed, and whoever they voted for, that is their solidified choice. So for Donald Trump's sake, I mean, I really do think that he's hoping for something to come out in the next few days, because we're on track to reach possibly 60 million votes cast early, whether in person early or by mail, 60 million votes before Election Day. 60 million votes is also roughly the same number that Donald Trump received in terms of the popular vote in 2016, for reference. So I just want to point that out. But Joe Biden today has a very strong chance at victory. The Democrats in the Senate have a very strong chance at victory. And in the House of Representatives, the same exact deal, an even stronger chance at winning the House of Representatives. So the Democrats are on track to win roughly 52 seats. This comes from all of the wins I mentioned before. In the House of Representatives, I was discussing the possibility of pickups for the Democrats. This comes from traditionally conservative districts that have actually narrowed up. Montana is a pretty close race. I mean, we're seeing the race within 5% in Montana. In Alaska, another state that is expected to be very close, within 6% in Alaska. I mean, looking across the country, the Democratic Party has made sure that they have fielded the strongest candidates for a year that traditionally, wouldn't be too favorable to them. I mean, this was the same House map that the Republican Party flipped 63 Senate seats, and not 63 House seats, won after flipping 63 House seats in 2010. And then they retained a new House from 2012 to 2018. Even Paul Ryan retired in 2018, not at fear of losing a seat, but he knew he would no longer be the Speaker of the House following the new House election. So the fact that the Democratic Party is out of such a strong position entering into the 2020 House elections, that is notable, because we were always discussing the possibility of the Democratic Party losing seats in the House. But it's a very good indicator of where the rest of the country is going if the Democrats are already expanding of an already strong majority in the House of Representatives. They have 233 seats today. According to 538, they're expected to leave with roughly 239. And that's the mid-range. They could very well go over that. In the Senate, the Democrats started with 47. They're expected to leave with 52. And on the presidential level, the Democrats started with 232 in 2016. And it looks like, based off this map, they are expected to get 320 electoral votes. Now, it can fluctuate. The forecast does put Biden at roughly 346, and I'm wondering where that comes from, because Pennsylvania, Florida, and North Carolina, I believe North Carolina puts it at 335 range, but it would take one of these three states in order to get up to that 346 range. But again, Georgia is within literally less than 0.1. Iowa is within less than 1%. It's a 0.3 margin. And in the state of Ohio, it's within a less than 1% margin. So across all three of the states, the Democratic Party is at a point where they could very well win Georgia, very well win Iowa, very well win Ohio, at the same time possibly lose North Carolina or possibly lose Arizona. But what's notable is that the closest state on the Democratic side is winning Joe Biden is winning by roughly 2%, whereas Georgia is being won by Trump by less than 0.1. So that's why the Democratic Party is on track to possibly win a trifecta. This would be something that is a decade later than what the Democrats previously had. I mean, we were talking 2008 to 2010, or practically 2009 to 2011 when the Democratic Party had a trifecta. They are now on track to win that. That is the result of President Trump and his reelection bid. We will see in 11 days that this actually ends up coming true. All eyes will point to not Joe Biden anymore because, the media is saying, Biden's probably going to win, but a lot of Democrats are very apprehensive following the 2016 election results. But all eyes are on Teresa Greenfield, Sarah Gideon, Cal Cunningham, Mark Kelley, John Hickenlooper, Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff. All of these people running in competitive races, all eyes are on them. Steve Bullock, Barbara Bollier, Jamie Harrison. Regardless of where you look, the Democratic Party will likely have a competitive race. And they are in a point where, they could possibly win, and the Democratic Party could win possibly even more than 52 Senate seats. The Senate seat majority will really matter for the Democratic Party, but as long as they have it and a trifecta is established, they're likely to pass very significant things within the first 2 years of a Biden administration. We're talking D.C. statehood level. We're talking possible reform of the Supreme Court level. There are so many things, so many possibilities that the Democratic Party will have, and they will likely pay for it at the midterm elections, which is exactly why they are going to try to rush it within the first 2 years of a Biden administration. If he wins, if the Democrats win the Senate, and if the Democrats retain the House, which is currently forecasted at a 72% chance. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord link for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch, and then a playlist for my 2020 election videos. You can scroll through all of them. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later today.